E un obligatoriu, să știi, da? 21, obligatoriu, dacă ai altul de negru și să faci negru, nu merge. Dacă ai să negru și să faci negru, jos nu merge. Tu stai cu negru, gata.
Cea mai bună combinație de 5, nu?
Da. Ca să știi că nu... 2-2, da?
Îți mici mie, te rog? Și de 1. Mulțumesc frumos.
Două ore? Da, așa, asta arată și capul de 2 ore.
Păi nu pot să mai continui pe de aici?
Deci să mutăm altă masă. Da. Mutăm altă masă. Echipa asta, dacă vrei, altă masă.
Wish you best of luck, guys. Câte cărți?
4?
4 cards, 4 cards. Mai una buton.
It's okay if we keep them stacked like this?
No.
Pass.
Yeah. The moment it's 5 card, right?
4.
So it's 2-2.
Două așa și până le schimbăm.
Ah, two, so
Două așa și...
Like
6 raise 6.
two on top of each other.
Ah, okay, okay.
20.
And if it's the 5 card, you can put the 5th in the middle.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, when you receive the cards, just shuffle them around.
6 raise 20. Yep, I told him, but I think that he wants just 20. One pass. Okay, 22. 2 pass.
N-ai bună, mă. Nu, la mine e înapoi.
Call.
Repede. Hai, bă, dar ce să facem? Trebuie să iei o
Call.
dată, trebuie să iei jos.
3 players. Three check. 5 check. Eight bet 55.
Da, nu ai tot.
Pass.
Mai de două.
Mamă, ce culori. Random o nouă.
Dacă am 90, dau cu 60. La alegere.
Poți să dai de ce rog?
New dealer.
Hello guys, and welcome back to the Cash Game Festival. Last stream of the week, we've got some PLO 4 and 5 card 2-2 action coming for you very shortly.
Alege, butonul și alege.
Big blind, please. 5 cards. Straddle 10. Ten. One raise. 25. Pass. 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 Call. 7. Call. 8. Call. Three players. 7 check. Eight bet 30. 1 call 30. Call 30. Seven check. 8 check. 1 check. Check. Eight bet 55.
Aha, so another George in seat 1 here. Does have the aces. Looks like he might be paying off this 55 bet on the river as well,
Call 55.
with just one pair. Never usually the best strategy in 5-card Omaha, I have to say.
Super. Five. Okay. Straddle 5.
Great offense.
Okay. Straddle 5. 1 call. 2 call.
So it looks like we've got some 2-2-5 action
5 call.
popping off.
Check.
Couple of pretty speculative hands in the mix so far.
6 players.
George with 3 clubs in his hand from the hijack. Ace, Queen, 7, 4, 3. Blimey. But Stefan does flop top 2 pair here on this
5 check.
pretty wet board. Ace, King, 8 with 2 hearts. Just got top 2 and is against 1 flush draw from Nikolai, who has a gut shot with the Queen, Jack and the nut flush draw as well.
2 raise. 6
Looks like George is going to bet 15 with top pair Queen kicker, which is probably not the way you want to be going about things in 5-card Omaha.
pass. One pass. Straddle 5. Four card. 5. 2 raise 20. 4 pass. 5 pass. 7 call. 8 call.
So Latera in the small blind with queens, no flush draw with an 8-2 side cards. I'll probably just fold that one, to be honest. I don't think we need to be V-pipping all of our queens from any position.
2 raise.
Looks like George is going to pile it in. Nikolai as well with the single suited King, King, Jack 10. quite a nice spot for him with the kings and George on the short stack there. Going to be able to isolate him and get some of the money in
10 raise.
and fold out some of the equity from the other players.
90. One time.
Nikolai winning that one with the straight, Jack 10, the nut straight on the river. Versus George's top set on the flop, so an unfortunate situation there for George. He was on the short stack in for 90, trying to get the absolute spin up, but ends up getting felted, and looks like, is that the end of it for him? Not too sure.
Five cards. Four pass. Five pass. Raise.
So not sure what's going on with the graphics, a little bit behind, but Melcior there with the ace, queen, jack, 8-2. Just single suited.
Raise.
I think it's a little bit loose from the cutoff with the 8-2 side cards. Probably just fold this one, unless I had the nut suit, in which I would definitely open.
7 call.
And Latera calls with king, jack, 10, 9, 5. Very connected hand. Bad flush draw, but does have the benefit of position post flop. And does indeed flop top 2 pair with a gut shot.
8 bet. 35. 7 call.
Six on the turn, not doing much for either player. Still 53 versus 47% in a €150 pot. Goes check, check. And the river is a 4. So it'd be interesting to see if Latera decides to turn his hand into a bluff, maybe trying to get pocket 7s to fold.
Four cards. Call. 2. Call. 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 Check. Check.
So six-handed action here. Is everyone limping for the 2? Let's have a look, scan through the cards. I think Latera could have definitely isolated his hand there. Nuts suit
8,
with some decent
10,
connectivity with the side cards.
2 pass, 4 pass, 5 call, 10. Heads up.
Ai prima are open.
5 check.
Uitado sunt total de 50.
8 bet, 15.
La platinum.
Call.
Ai barbujela.
Check. Straight. Nu mai înțeleg.
Ace 5 there taking it down as we see some pretty deep stacks. Michael in for around about 2k. The Terra has 1000 and a couple of the other players there a lot over the 100 big blinds marker that we're playing in the 2-2 PLO.
Five. Call. 8 raise. 15. 2 pass. 4 pass. 55. 5 raise, 55. Pass. 7 call.
So Stefan 3-betting here with the double suited aces from the big blind. 55 to go, gets 2 callers. And Latera flopping trips somehow with the absolute Raz pre-flop 98873.
Bet. 85.
Stefan checking from the big blind and Latera wasting no time in making it a half pot there with the 3. Let's see how he changes
Heads
his
up.
strategy when the turn card comes, which gives Stefan with the ace 4 of hearts a flush draw as well.
7. Sorry.
No, Sam is not in the mix, unfortunately. We were just playing a 5, 10, 25 lay game in the break and managed to lose €1,000, the equivalent of €1,000 in literally 3 hands. It was absolutely brutal.
Pass.
So I think he's head back to the apartment. He's getting his stuff ready for tomorrow. He had top set versus a weird like gut shot straight on the turn that I don't think he could have put his opponent on with a flush draw. Lost that one. The guy only wanted to run it once, and the other one was he had double suited aces, limped, got a couple a raise and a couple of calls, went for the back pot, gets called in 2 spots, 1 SPR, fires it in on a jack 8-4, and the guy backdoors the nut straight.
Rather 10. 5 cards? 5 cards. Straddle 10.
Yeah, very unfortunate sequence of events for Sam, but he's a good player. He'll be back. He's had a pretty rough week, to be honest. I've not seen him either through commentary or playing get on the right side of variance. It's just been brutal turning to brutal.
Call. Call. 5 call.
Acolo dai check, acolo nu bate, acolo dai check.
Hey, check.
Acum dau check aici, dai check, jur că dau check.
6 players.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a good player. He knows exactly what's going on. Just
Six.
sometimes it doesn't work out
Five
for you,
bets.
especially if you are playing Omaha or high variance games like that.
6 pass, 7 pass.
Dacă am poziție, altceva. Primul la vorbă, da.
8 pass.
Nu mă mai enervați că vă liber, cer cu liber. Nu cere, mă.
Call.
Da, da.
Heads up.
Am văzut ce cu pulul. Da, sau ce să te faci.
100. Pass.
Claudio electing to get away from that one with top two on the flop, but it's one of those hands with top two on the flop, no backdoors, where there's pretty much no good turn cards for you apart from the ones that make you a boat, which are obviously about 4 outs. It's going to happen about 8% of the time. So it's a hand that I think you can get away from quite easily, and I think the general population in these kind of games aren't doing as much as they should.
Sit 4, play more 200. Straddle 5. 4 cards. Call. Call. 5, call. 6, call 5. Call 5. 35. 2, call 35. 4, pass. 3 players.
Are și rombul și chintănați. Numai că ea scoate-mă din ăla, mă, scoate ăla.
Yeah, I know it does seem like a pretty good game, so I'm not too sure why we haven't got the players that we should have. It's coming to the end of the week, and I think people may be just a bit like not fed up, but they've done their weekly dose of poker and they're moving on to other things.
4 or 5. 5 cards.
Eu aveam up and down, flash dronat și poate era nax.
Pe pătălul să faci ripoți, le fac pe toate de doblezi, tu dai.
Straddle 5.
10-8-2. Eu eram, mă, da, mergeam și la mea. Mergeam și la mea, să făceam chintănați, mergeam și la mea. Aveam pe 7-8.
5, pass.
Eu am avut valer 9-6, as și pune 10, am chintănat și flash dronat.
6, call 5. 7, call. 8, call.
So Laterra peeling from the small blind here with 3 spades in his hand, Jack 9, 8, 7, 2. I think the small blind is a position in 5-card Omaha that you want to have the smallest VPIP by a substantial margin. Definitely wouldn't be peeling these hands there. Like, well, what's he hoping to hit? A straight flush, a straight. You know, it's really difficult to realize your equity here in the small blind. Does turn a 10 though, which gives him the Jack 9 straight. Nikolai with the aces Flopping absolutely nothing there. Really, really poor flop for him, even though he did have those double suited aces. Just a backdoor diamond draw to boot and some nut straight blockers. So let's see if he turns his aces into a bluff, doesn't even think about it, and Platera takes it down. Fair enough.
Five cards. Five cards, okay? Straddle 5. Five, pass. 6, call 5. 7, raise, 20. 8, call, 20. 2, pass.
So Latero raising it up to 20 with an incognito hand at present. However, Claudio does pick up the aces in the straddle. With 294, I think the easy decision here is just to pot. I think this is too weak. There's a lot of money in there already. Already 60 euros in there. We just need to try and get the money in on the flop. And the problem is now when we call, we've got bad aces, so our hand needs a little bit more protection than that pre-flop.
6, check. 7, check.
Yeah, it's been a bit weird this week. We've not had the amount of interaction that I'd have hoped for. But hopefully that will pick up. In Cash Game Festival Bulgaria, about 2 stops ago, we had over 200 viewers at one point. Whereas this week we are competing with some online stuff, the Battle of Malta, as well as what's the other one that's going on, the WSOP Europe. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment.
Thank you. Four cards. Straddle 5. Yes. 5. Call 5. 7. Call 5. 8. Call 5. 2. Call 5. Call. Check. Six players. Check. 4. 30. Bet 30. 5. Pass. Pass. 7. Pass. 8. Pass.
So Claudio betting 30 here with top pair going for the full pot on a pretty dry 10-6-3. I'd probably just want to check this one. We blocked some straights, so 8-9 and 7-5 type hands, getting there on the turn, and for a full pot sizing on such a dry board, I think it's more beneficial for our hand for value on later streets to just check. Yeah, pretty tight so far, which is annoying for 4-5 Omaha, but we'll see how that develops over the next hour and a half.
Eight, call 20. Two, pass. 87. 4, bad. 87. 6, pass.
So Latera popping it up, Michael cold calling with 4 diamonds in his hand, obviously not the preferred strategy. More of one suit you do have, the more you are killing your own equity, and you can see here 3 ways he does have only 18% equity. Latera has a very playable hand, Queen Jack 10 10 8 double suited, and Michael here, Claudio, sorry, at just under a 1 stack to pot ratio is going to surely be shoving this in. Does have an 8 blocker, does have a Jack of Hearts. Yeah, can't just put his opponents on better hands the majority of the time. But it does check. And we did see on that previous stream that he was sort of pushing out of some of the easier decisions. Just so happens that Michael has King 4, but I mean, you can't check here 3 ways. You've got a 1 stack to pot ratio. You benefit more from folding out some equity, like if the guy's got like King Queen or something like that. You'd prefer to bet to potentially get him to fold his equity rather than get him to go all in. It's not like Omaha, it's not like a Hold'em when you have 2 cards and much better equity. You really would like to deny equity on the flop with your aces, so you need to put people to the test. And oftentimes in live Omaha, people do tend to overfold, so you can benefit from. Yeah, it's a very weak check, I have to say. Like, what are we doing? Trapping aces on the flop. Does get there with the ace on the turn, and that's going to be the check mark for him. Full house versus full house on the first run out. But in the long run there, I think he's burning a fair bit of money by checking.
Floor. Wait. 1 second. Floor. Floor. Big bet, please. 5 cards.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's a little bit of a strange one.
Straddle 5.
Definitely on the more conservative side, that's for sure.
Three, call. 5.
Last money or strange player, one of the two or both. So Melcia electing to limp here in the hijack with the double suited ace 9 10 3 5. Don't mind it. probably prefer to just start raising the action here. It does mean that you can knock out a couple of hands that do include better clubs than you, for example.
Heads up. 5 check.
So Michael opening it up pre-flop and does flop bottom set versus the straight with 2 pair, yeah, straight and top 2. So Stefan definitely going to be potting this one, trying to get as much money in as possible. I don't really see Michael going anywhere based on what we've seen from him so far. Unfortunately doesn't have the diamonds, but bottom set and backdoor hearts probably will be talking himself into some sort of continue. Yeah, it'd be a great game to just sit down and start running people over. I've seen that quite a lot at 2-2, but you don't tend to get those kind of games in 5-5.
Pass.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was going to continue there with the bottom set, but I guess he wanted to have some sort of flush draw with it as well.
Nu se arată tuturor.
Am avut 3, 6, 8 în mână, băi, eu 3, 6, 8 în mână.
Player 2, straddle 5.
Dacă vă fac în pula mea, mă, cam tot am vrut să pierd. Planterul. Dacă vă fac din pot, nu pui toți banii aceia.
4 sau 15.
Bă, flop, bă!
Și 4 are, mă. Și 4 are. Să te cași și control.
Păi acolo te curăț, mă. N-ai văzut că am? Păi am tot dracu și flash draw, bă!
3-4 pass.
Mult.
5 pass.
So Michael with a really razzy hand there in the small blind, Queen 8-7 deuce. Wouldn't be playing that in any position. Jack 6-6-5. It's going to come in for the call. Blind versus blind, essentially. Don't mind that.
Da. Heads up.
Așa și el are bet cu mine. Are de care și 4.
And so Nikolai here in the big blind with the 5 of hearts. Electing to check. Looks like they're just going to check it down, and Melcior wins that one with a pair of 8s. So not too much post-flop aggression going on here, especially in spots where it might be favourable to have a stab.
Straddle 5. Am înțeles? Polcol. A fost stradă.
Single suited queens here for to be in the cutoff. Definitely going to be opening this one up. Ooh. As I say, that does elect a limp, so not too sure what's going on there. Jack 10-10-8 on the button. We can definitely ISO this hand. Yep, as he does, makes it 24 to go. Single suited and good connectivity is just going to play really well post flop. Melcia decides to call with single suited kings. Don't mind that decision, but when you do have a 300 stack here and you're facing someone isolating a limp with an ace blocker, I think we should just be 4-betting the majority, 3-betting the majority of the time. So top set for Melcia, whilst Michael flops the jack high flush. So might see some action on the turn here. To be just double checking his cards. Yes, bro, you just have the queen of hearts, no flush. Checks round to Michael twice. Definitely want to start seeing a bet here. Denying some equity to 2 pairs / set type hands. And 55 looks to be about right. Gets a call from Melcia, who does have that top set. Yeah, there's a really loud table next to me. I do apologise for that. And so 10 on the river. Ooh, there's no flush. It looked like on the graphics that it was king 8-5 heart heart heart.
6 bet 100. 4.
Mai puține plancuri decât câțiva sari.
Ok. Am jucătorul și acțiunea. Small. Eight solid 10.
I think my mic was turned off there for a second, sorry about that. So folding around to the button here, looks like he's going to make it 35. So must have a couple of Stradlovichka.
4 pass. 6 pass.
Starunen, says Michael had it. No, he did not. He, if you're talking about the last hand, I believe, right, where it looked like he had the flush on the graphics, but he actually just had the Raz.
Check. Hey, check. 2 bet 110. 110.
Yeah.
Pass.
So as you can see, relatively deep stack stuff going on in this 4/5 card PLO game.
7 straddle 5. 8 straddle.
Măcar nu pune nasul, nu mai
Two pass.
Dacă dau doar colp, dă și la colp. Și până îmi favorit și acolo să schimbă.
4 call. 6, 7, 8, 4.
So Claudio flattening that double straddle here in the small blind with a rather speculative double suited hand. But does benefit from the fact that everyone else is electing to check or complete behind.
Pop. 3 check. 5 bet 40. 7, 8. Pass. Free call. Heads up.
So Tibby leading out with those fives, top set on the flop, now improves to a straight, and also has a straight flush draw on the turn as well. So things just going from good to good for him.
Players for bet 105 call.
We are back, just taking a quick toilet break.
Small talk.
Pe așa l-am simțit și eu, că poate nu se chiar așa bine.
Două pe față, te rog.
Uite că se stai.
5, da? Straddle 5. 8 straddle 5. 2 call. 3 call. 29. 4 ace 29. 29. 5 call. 7 call. 8 pass. 2 call. 3 call. Four players. Check, check. And check. Seven, 2, 3 and 4 check. 7 check. 2 bet 100. Three pass, 4 pass, and 7 pass. Small big.
Alright, so what happened here? How good were Latero's aces though? Did he have some decent connectivity with it as well? Of course, then, if that's the case, you would be more inclined to 3-bet. I think there's definitely an argument for flatting some of the worst aces. Yeah, then if decent, you, of course, 3-bet 100%. Unless you're like in the small blind and like 500 big blinds deep with an absolute lunatic.
3+.
The guy had only 140, yeah, it's just the easiest 3-bet of your life.
6+. Call. 2 raise 25. 4, 7, and 8 call. 4 players.
Very weird indeed. So back to the 4-card variant.
8 call.
Jack 7 deuce with 2 spades. No one flopping a flush draw, but Latero does have top set. And gets a peel out of Michael, who's got top 2. So very much, ooh, that's a rough card for Michael. Very much a caller situation now. Latero quickly checking, and you know he'll do well. He should get the full stack here. I'm not sure whether he's going to go. Oh my God, Michael's checked back somehow. Ace on the river. What is going on? How on earth has Michael checked back, and how on earth has Latero not got the full stack? He might just get called now. Let's see what Michael elects to do here. Probably thinks he's checking back the turn for deception. Does get raised and sticks it in, and it's an absolute disaster there from Michael, who has put in 400 big blinds with what is the 4th nuts, I believe, on the river. Aces, jacks, ace 7 and 7s beat him. Oh no, you can't have 7s, so aces, jacks and ace 7. You alright, Jeffrey, how you doing, pal? I guess that was Michael's plan there, but I'm not too sure what he's going to get paid off by with that river raise. Be it deuces, jack 7 deuce. Like, it's really tough to get called by a worse hand when you raise the river there. Eight call. 2 call. Blocks Jackson as a 7, so what can the other have? But yeah, but you check back the turn to raise the river, so it's a massive overplay at that point. I don't think you're getting a worse hand to call when you take that on.
6 players.
So multi-way action here, 6 ways to a flop. Aces in front pre-flop, but of course that changes drastically when we see Melcia has 44% with what appears to be just ace high. Not particularly sure what's going on there. Does have a flush draw as well, of course. Yeah, it's definitely a stab at the river. As played, the terror did lead into him when he raised. I think that's a massive overplay, especially as some of the hands at the top of the terror's range are going to play the same way. Aces would for sure check the turn. Jacks might check the turn at decent frequency as well. And you only have removal for one of those type of hands. So top 2 for Michael here. As the turn card brings the diamond, that's going to hamper everyone's spirits. Claudio now picks up the nut blocker. Might want to turn his hand into a bluff here if he has the heart. And I think this will work. Does finally show the table a bluff, so getting in the mix of things is Cloud. Ooh, what happened there? Did Tibby raise? No, I think Claudio's taking on the pot, so it looks like Tibby just folded. Wasn't the nuts, right? It was a 3 flush. Graphics going all over the place. I do beg your pardon.
Pass. Yep.
The terror popping it up to 20 here on the 5 straddle with ace king queen 9 and a nut suit. I think it's absolutely fine, of course. Gets a call from Nikolai in the small blind with single suited kings and bad side cards. I really like that decision as well. So as we go into the next hand of the 2-2 PLO action, just a little reminder, you can check us out on our social media channels. Everything apart from Twitter is .com/cashgamefestival, and for Twitter it is .com/cashfestival. Have a little look at some of the content that the media guys are putting out. There's some top quality stuff there for your enjoyment and your enjoyment only. Thanks very much for joining us, and we are about an hour into the last stream of the week, unfortunately.
8 call. 2 raise 25. Three pass. 4 calls, 6 pass.
So Claudio here in the big blind calling the 25 with King Jack 9 3 hearts. Definitely be letting that one go. Nikolai raising to 25 on the button has the absolute lot. Aces with a suit.
4 check. 8 check. 2 bet 50. Change. 4 pass. 8 call. Heads up.
Nikolai does bet the 50, gets a quick call from Jack 9 of clubs there.
2 check.
And the open ender to the straight 5 deuce. And does get there with the elusive 5 deuce on the river.
Quinta.
Ace on the turn would be epic, says Buratino. Absolutely thirsty for blood by the sounds of it.
Straddle 5. Straddle 5, 8, straddle 10.
We do need some blood in this game, that's for sure. The only blood I have at the moment is a Heineken. So I could do with a bit more livelihood in this game, but let's see how it develops. Melcia here, electing to come in for the limp with the single-suited ace-8-6-6-4. I think this hand does play okay on the button, but I probably wouldn't play it from any other position.
7 call. 8.
I like to limp when I have like a weak single-suited to the nuts suit type hand, and raise when I have weaker suits, because the reason being you can force out some better suits behind that can just limp in and come along for the ride, and that definitely does help your post-flop equity.
8 pass. Heads up.
So Melcia betting 25 on the flop and Laterra coming along for the ride. Both players have the ace. Laterra improving to the second nut boat on the turn with the ace 3. That's another 3 on the river as well, so this is a great card for Laterra. He's surely going to get paid. The problem is with I find with Peter Laterra is his sizing tells. He does tend to go very quick when he has it, and I don't think I've seen him balance that with the weak hand as of yet over the course of the last 4 or 5 days on the stream.
Eu am văzut mai devreme chestia aia de culoare, stai să deschide. Față, față. Păi am care?
So 6-handed action with Laterra on the big stack there, 2.1k. And seeing as it is a 2-2 game, he might be having a last-ditch effort there at the Cash Game Festival PLO Trophy. Sightgasm is hosting us. Thanks very much, Sightgasm. Melcia has €3, you say. Don't think I can see a €3 stack at the table. So Lutera is up a hell of a lot. I think he's in for 1,000, so he's up at least 500 big blinds so far.
Rather five. Nice.
Thank you, Psychgasm. Really appreciate that. Sturenan says close to 1,000. Because I think Lutera is in for 1,000, so being 2-2 blinds, he's up 500 big blinds, right? Or not too sure. There was a guy we had a couple of days ago, Lucian, that won a hell of a lot of money. Ooh, check mark here for Claudio, who flops quads. Hopefully we can get a bird's eye view of him, just to see what sort of things he's doing at the table. But Tibby's going to lead out with the King Jack, and here's the money that hasn't put. Here's the guy that hasn't put money in anything but the nuts. He had 3 left, wants to bet his ace-3 on river, says Beanerman. Thanks very much for that. Guessing he's reloaded. And a check from Tibby on the river. Doesn't improve to a straight or anything, so still just King Jack. Don't think this is ever getting called. Not sure why we're betting pot either. Like, the only hands that we're going to get called by for pot are full houses or sometimes aces, but the problem is with aces that you're worried that your opponent has the 6, so pot makes absolutely no sense in this spot. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd even bet 100, to be honest. I'd probably go third pot, just so that I can maybe get called by ace, king, aces, and I don't think there are many worse. I don't think there are many boats out there, so I think that we just need to try and target ace, king, and aces, and I think the sizing for that is somewhere between 60 and 80. I think 160 is a massive mistake. Don't think kings plays it that way, which is the main hand that we do completely cooler, which would obviously be raising, but yeah, I don't think there are many boats out there based on the way that hand played out. No, not so good.
5 raise, 15, 7 call, 15. 8 pass. Call. 3 players.
Yeah, Tibby's always in the mix. So king 4-4 twos with the king high diamonds, which is certainly not going to be a hand that you want to be playing from the button. And the 7 of spades on the river, giving Nikolai the backdoor flush. Just a €47 pot. I think it's probably going to check round here. There's no reason for anyone to bet on this texture.
Please. 5 cards. Call 2. 10. 4 raise 10. 5 call 10.
Something you do see a lot at 4 or 5 card Omaha, people just like raising pre with reckless abandon, then showing no post-flop progression whatsoever when they are raising too wide. You need to make up for that in some way. Oh, Melcia looks like he is all in for €3, but no, we can see there that he does have all of those greens behind him. That's about 300 or 400 euros.
8 check. Check.
I think everyone's asleep, to be honest. It's pretty tough. We went on a tour of the local sightseeing stuff in Old Town, and I ended up being the host, so it turned into a pub crawl, and things got out of hand pretty quickly, and I've been guilty myself of catching a few winks over the last couple of hours. Yes, we had tequila shots, we had gin meisters, which is Guinness with Jägermeister. Really nice. We went to an Irish bar.
Raise.
Yeah, everyone got tequilas. Free on the house, of course. Just part of the Cash Game Festival VIP package. How do you think Claudio plays? This is the guy that plays too tight, right? I think we've come to that conclusion.
306.
There's a spot where he had aces pre-flop, got the stack to pot ratio to under 1. It's just the easiest jam of your life, because jamming as opposed to check calling with aces on like a weird board is better, because you can fold out some equity, whereas if you're check calling you don't have the benefit of any fold equity. So I think he played that one pretty poorly, but overall I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be losing in this game, just because he's a lot more solid than most people. However, he is putting some money in here. Yeah, I mean, when someone calls for 360 off of a stack of about 600, that's not really ever a good sign. It's pretty poor, unless he has the absolute lot. And he's just trying to induce people in behind. If he's got like 8, 8, 7, 6, 4 or something like that, I don't mind it, because like you've got the indestructible nuts essentially, whereas but Nikolai does have the 8s. Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is in general in Claudio's spot, like, what is he just going to fold now for like the 300 when there's like what 1.3k in the pot? Does seem a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, Tippy's one of those guys you never really know what's going on with him. Sort of making it up as he goes along. Come on, Claudio. If he calls 300, the pot's 1.5k, he's getting 5 to 1 on his money. He needs 20% equity to make a winning call here.
Call.
I don't think Claudio ever has a straight here when he tank calls the turn. I think he's more likely to have a hand like pocket 5s, maybe with a backdoor flush draw, maybe not. Maybe ace. Yeah, he could have ace 3 actually. So there's 7 there. That must be Claudio's hand. 6-5-5. Yeah, he does have middle sets, so he does get there on the second board. And does he have a 9-5 or 6-5? I think it's going to be a chop. Jack 6-5 by the looks of things. I thought I saw a spade as well. Yeah, there's the 5 of spades. So had middle set versus top set, but with the all-important flush draw as well. God, it took him a hell of a long time to get the money in there. Good read.
Floor.
He won both? Am I missing something? 6-5. What have I missed there? He didn't have the straight on the turn, did he?
To play more. Play 500.
So we had. Why is he wasting everyone's time? Like it took, what, 30 to 45 seconds to call on the turn when he's got a flush draw as well as the nut straight. Is that right? I really dislike this kind of thing. Like, for one, it's
Straddle 5.
wow. So he turned the nut straight and with
Call.
yeah, that's what I thought. He had fives, right? So he was beat on the turn. He just had second set with the flush draw, and his opponent had top set.
2. Call 15.
But he gets there on both boards.
3. Pass.
I think he got there on both boards, but he got it in slightly bad.
5 players.
Thank you, Charlie T, just for making sure that
4 check.
me and Borotino must have missed something there.
8 check. 2. Check. Call check. Check. 7 check. Check. 2 check. Check. 7
So Jack's with a check mark here on a 10-7-7-4 ace board, which is pretty rare for a five-handed four card.
50.
Yes, yeah, he got there both times, but I think he got it in bad with middle set on the flop and a flush draw on the turn. Thank you, Beanie Man and Charlie T.
Five cards. Straddle 5.
So short-handed action here to finish off things at the Cash Game Festival. 2245 PLO. Let's see what develops in the next half an hour or so as we come to the end of what has been another great festival.
Thank you.
Latera here with ace 10-10-9 deuce, double suited. Certainly going to want to be playing this hand. I like the decision to raise.
Pass. 3. Pass.
So this guy called with middle set and bottom set.
4. Pass.
So unblocking all of your, blocking all of the hands that he beats, like king 8, king 6.
Heads up.
Yeah, it seems really poor, right? Is it a rainbow board as well? Because if so, like that's a massive dust.
Bet 25.
Yeah, is there a flush draw or what? So Latera betting on the flop with his gut shot. Got a couple of backdoor draws as well. Dry as fuck, only straight draw. Sounds like a donation for you, Bertino. Hope you're spending that on shots.
Five cards.
Yeah, the problem is though is when he's got like a middle and bottom set, like how can you ever have two pair? Like it's really difficult for you to get it in with. You're just going to have top set when you get it in, like almost every time. unless you have like the full wrap with 2 backdoor flush draws, which, you know, he's still not doing that well against, because if you get there with your wrap, he can't really rebink when he blocks all of his own outs.
Two pass.
Yeah, sounds like an absolute dust.
3 call 5. Call. Call. Check.
He turned your shot down.
Four players.
Sounds like an absolute fun sponge. Jack 9-9. So Claudio flopping trips,
3 bet.
and Melcia also flopping trips with wrap.
4 call 10. 5 call 7 pass.
9 versus 9 indeed, Sound King. Thanks for joining.
3 players.
Ooh, king on the turn.
5 check.
Does make the board a little bit spicier, but wait, hang on a sec. Where's Tibby in the hand?
Check. Check.
It's 10-9 versus 10-9 here. It's going to be a Topovic between Melcia and Claudio. Someone offers you a shot, you take. This is the motto for life. Doesn't matter what situation you're in, doesn't matter what time of day it is. You get off the shot, you take the shot, you down the shot, and you move on with your day.
Give me one, please. Big blind, please. 5 cards.
Huh?
Straddle 5. Pass. 4 pass. 17 raise. Give him the cards, please. Call 17. Pass.
So Tibby popping it up with the 10-8-8-7-5, 3 hearts from the small blind, getting a call from Latera with a nut suit and some limited playability.
Heads up.
Not the worst flop for Latera.
5
Flops a gut shot to the nuts.
30.
Double gutter to the nuts in 2 counts with backdoor spades. Definitely going to want to be continuing that one. And now does... Ooh, Tibby's going to still be continuing here with the 10-8-8-7-5.
7 pass.
Not really too sure what this bet achieves. You have no clubs in your hand. Your opponent's continued on the flop.
Four cards. Straddle 5.
Sound King 69 back says plus 999888777. You alright, mate? You on the absolute sesh or something? What's going on?
Five. Call five. Five. Call five. Call. Check. 5 players. Check. Check. 2 bet. 25. Call.
So Nikolai leading out here with the what's he got? Double gutter. 9 or a 4 would make him straight. No backdoor draw though as well. Well, 6-handed. Tibby deciding to pop things up with middle set. Does also have the 7-5 gut shot to the nut straight with the 4. And does get a call out of Nikolai, so some pretty loosey-goosey action going to a turn card, which is the 5. Nikolai still the underdog. Chocolate cookies will get you into drugs, says Boratino. Where the hell have you found that?
4 cards. Three, pass. 4, 2. Raise up, 8. 7. Call 8. 8. Call. Call. Four players. Check. 2, check. 4, check. Check. Check.
Chickerville will close its UK thing. I've never been to Chickerville in the UK before.
2, pass. 4, pass. Heads up. Check. Check. Show them this. Show.
Research suggests chocolate chip cookies equivalent to drug addiction in the brain. I mean, it doesn't get much better than a good chocolate chip cookie, I have to say. Sometimes the ones you get in Subway are absolutely top notch.
Four cards. Straddle 5. Straddle 10.
Depends if they're like really nicely baked or not. Yeah, I don't like the really hard ones, but when they're nice and soft and gooey, that's yeah, that's when you're hitting the absolute spot. So Latera's not going to be playing the 9-3 deuce deuce here.
7 pass.
Michael,
Call 10.
cards not being picked up by the RFID scanner. I'd quite like Nikolai to 3-bet here with the Jack 9-6. When we do call, it does mean that our suits are far less likely to be good multi-way.
Call. Check or raise. Raise 60. 5 raise 60. 8 pass. 2 call 60. 3 pass. 4 pass. Heads up. Check. 5 bet 75.
Nikolai electing to check. Tippy here pumping things up with the Queen Jack 9-8.
2 check.
And if he does find the second barrel, definitely would work.
Check.
And with the 9 now, might think that he has some sort of shred of showdown value, but for the most part he will be up against a hand like Queens, Jacks, 10s. There are some weaker King X in there as well. Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird, isn't it? There's no one really putting people into a spot in this table. It's just like, all right, let's sort of splash around pre-flop, see who makes the nuts and jack it down. It's not the best.
Când ne-a pus cu banii cu 55 de milioane, dar n-ați făcut de la primarul la 2, cum a fost? Și-a luat până 230 de milioane.
5 cards. Straddle 5.
Very straightforward game. A game that I'd love to be in the mix in this game, to be honest. Usually I play pretty tight, but I think the adjustment to this table is playing just basically any hand on the button and playing super aggressive post flop when check 2. Don't think anyone's balancing their checking ranges at all in this kind of game. I think you could beat this game not even looking at your cards if you're good enough at identifying changes in board texture and PLO.
8 raise. 20.
It's pretty deep. Like for a 2-2 game, most people are over 300 big blinds, so.
Call 10. 5 call 10. 3 players. 4 check, 5 check.
So Claudio flops himself a wrap here, and let's scan through the cards. Tibby has 72% with 10. With just the 10? Can't see anything else with it.
Raise 150. 4 call 150.
Jack of spades on the river. Not completing anything here. but looks like Michael's pocket eights are good. As Claudio waves the white flag, they're not going to continue with his bluff. He could definitely represent some hands like ace queen, queen 9 here, but go for a barrel on the turn. Doesn't have any relevant blockers to it, and it is 5-card Omaha though, so I don't really mind his decision to let go. And then Michael turns his bare 8-8 into a bluff and gets it through. So pretty random stuff going on here. Oh, what, the stake level too small for them to have balance checks? Yeah, I mean 2-2 Omaha, pretty much 80% of the population there will be paying pot with the nuts and check with everything else type stuff.
Straddle 5, 8 straddle 10.
I agree. I think you need to polarize there. I'm not sure what the reasoning for the 100 was. So looks like there's been a call from Nikolai on a couple of straddles in play. I think Laterra's going to be in here, double suited, got a nut suit. Does play fairly loose passive pre-flop, but definitely knows what he's doing. Post-flop.
Four call, 6 call, 7 call. Cinci jucători, 5 players. 4 check.
Michael here flopping the nut straight with redraws and a backdoor flush draw. The absolute lot. And what's he up against? Looks like Tibby has the bottom end of the straight, which is a terrible situation to be in. And Nikolai here, not with an awful lot, just with the... what's he got? Backdoor flush draw, open ender.
Paid bet 215, 215.
2020 schedule not up as of yet, but London is almost 100% happening in February, so be awesome to see there, Berrettino. So Tibby looks like he's all in with the bottom end of the straight. It's an absolute disaster. He does have one backdoor flush draw though, so maybe he can find a way out, and the 3 of clubs means that he is dead. Michael taking that one down for 200 big blind profit with the straight. When the board pairs, probably thinks he's got the Raz by that point.
See top, 6.
Yep. Me?
think I'm gonna go to Chisinau and find a wife. Cracovia.
All the good
Cracovia. That's like Russian, basically. Cracovia
8 straddle 5. No, you straddle. You straddle.
Romanian, it's easier, you know. They know Russian, but they know Romanian. Most girls know Romanian. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, quattro. Yeah.
2 call.
Romanian is Russian language.
3 pass.
15.
No, 5.
15.
4 raise 15. 7 call. 8 call, 2 call. Four players. Seven check.
Sorry, there I was just whisked away to do the photo for the Cash Game Festival. So, King Queen 3 looks like Michael is leading out with his top pair here. Not an awful lot to go with it. Guess he does have some backdoor straight draws. Claudio along for the ride with the Jack High flush draw. Does also have some backdoor straight potential. Off the off chance that a 10 or an 8 or a 9 hits on the turn, he can turn jacks into a bluff as well, which is quite nice in position. Certainly not something I'd be doing out of position, but I like the fact that he has called here.
Plus. 8 call.
Wow, what the hell's gone on here? So Michael's hero called him with the King 6 with hearts and straight draws missing. What was the sizing? Sorry, I just missed that. A couple of things going on in the background here.
5 cards. 4 cards. Small please. Free pass. 4 raise 8, 7 pass. 26. 8 raise 26. Două șase. 2 call 26. 4 call. 3 pairs. Three players.
Yeah, it looks like a sick hero call there from the King 6. But it was actually, actually a nice hand to hero call down, because he did unblock all of the hands that he was hoping that his opponent had. Didn't have any jacks, 10s, 9s or hearts in his hand, so I think pretty shrewd. So Nikolai here with middle set and the nut flush draw as well. Just about as good as it gets. Does turn gut shot to the nuts as well, as 6 would give him the best hand. Already has it though, and has middle set versus bottom 2. Michael here looking for a queen and a queen only by the looks of things. And I don't think he's going to call off what is essentially his entire stack with bottom 2 and a gut shot. Oh, looks like I'm wrong. Does call the 228 and needs to find a queen somehow that isn't a spade. And there's the 9, so both players making a full house on the river, and Michael will be getting the extra 369. Oh, he's checked. What on earth is going on here? Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's not the guy with kings. That makes sense. I misread that. I thought C8 had the kings there and then checked out of position. So very much a cooler river for Michael there. Pretty much anything but the 9 he was going to be able to get away from. Queen makes him the best hand. Anything else, I think he just folds. Looks like we are coming to the end of the stream here. I think we're going to have about 3 more hands to go.
4 cards. 4 straddle 5. 7 8 straddle 20. Puțin la tine straddle 20. Nu jucat până acum așa? Nu știu. 2 fold.
So Latera finding the ace king 10-5 double suited, certainly a hand that you want to be pumping it up with. Michael calling with 3 queens in his hand, which is a little bit adventurous to say the least. And an unfortunate flop for both players, really, as it does get to the turn card. Neither player even has a diamond in this spot. And Michael's queens are going to be good. Yeah, I think we've got 3, maybe 2 or 3 hands left, Buratino.
Last 2 hands, gentlemen. 5 cards. 7 straddle 5. 8 straddle 10.
Glad to hear it, mate. Yeah, I've had a good time as well. It's been certainly a festival that we've kind of fumbled together at the last minute. The scheduling wasn't ideal with it being alongside Battle of Malta. However, it's been a lot of fun, regardless. Looks like we've got the 2-2-5-10 on at the moment.
Straddle 10. 2 4. 3 plus. 4 call, 7 call, 8 check. Four players. 4 check. 7 check, 2 check. 4 check.
Multi-way action here, scanning through the whole cards. Looks like the Terror has the king, but not the strongest hand really, especially 4 ways in 5 card. Obviously you're losing to Queen 10, Jacks, Aces, Ace King, King Jack. There's not a whole lot worse actually that can call you on this specific card, but it does take it down. I think with a hand like that you're going to win a lot of small pots and lose a lot of big pots if you do get raised. So I would elect to just check and have it in my checking range to sort of balance out with the times that I have nothing.
Big blind, please. 8 straddle 5. Two pass. 3 call. 4 call. 7 call 8 check.
It's not ideal, but flights are pretty cheap to get to London. Yeah.
4 check. 7 8 check.
I mean, there might be a case where I might be able to help you out with that. Flight's €25, exactly. It's a piece of piss for the flight. It's just the accommodation will be quite a lot. But I can certainly try and rustle up some help for you. So Melcia here, flopping the second nuts, turning the second nut straight. Claudio has third set with an open ender, and Michael as well in there with top pair and a flush draw. So multi-way action here. €80 in the pot. What's the spicy river card? Queen of Hearts? Nope, the ace. So Claudio gets there with the nut straight. Melcia, who already had a straight, unfortunately does still have the nuts, but knows that he's probably not going to get paid in the spot, to be honest. Maybe you just chuck out like 25 just to try and get paid by a set or 2 pair or something, because this is just costing everyone rake as it plays. You're in London 29 of October till 31. Ooh, what are you up to? I might be there at that point. I'm going to go to Barcelona for a week to play the Party Poker Grand Prix. And apart from that, we'll see what happens. Signing papers and meetings. Oh, you're doing a meet and greet, Buratino. So what's going on here? Is that the end of it? Looks like that might have been the last hand. A couple of guys have left the table, and I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. Thanks for joining us throughout the week at Cash Game Festival Bucharest. We've been running it at the Poker Room Bucharest alongside the NetBet Open, which has come to its conclusion tonight. We look forward to seeing some of you guys at the next Cash Game Festival stop. The plans for 2019 will be published very shortly. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. See you and peace out. On to the next time. Bye-bye.